Arctic Star Exploration, operated by a team of proven mine finders, is focused on diamonds in Finland and the Northwest Territories of Canada. A work program is planned for our Finland property that contains diamond-bearing kimberlite. Arctic Star trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ADD, and the Frankfurt Exchange, symbol 82A1. Please visit our website at arcticstar.ca or call us at 604-689-1799.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Mish Shedlock, editor of Mish's Global Economic Trend Analysis on MishTalk.com. Welcome back to the show, Mish.
Pleasure to be back on, Jim.
The NAFTA talks get underway in just a few days. Should Canada be worried? Trump today just said Canada doesn't have to worry when it comes to trade with the U.S.
I have no idea. And nor does anyone else, because no one knows what Trump is going to do or say, and it might be different tomorrow than what he's saying today. But if he follows through with some of the things that he said on trade regarding Canada, regarding Mexico, regarding Germany, regarding China, he risks setting off a global trade war, and the consequences will be very bad.
The Russian Prime Minister today said the latest U.S. sanctions amount to a trade war with Russia. Would a trade war with Russia be very damaging?
Well, if Russia stopped, Russia is the biggest producer of processed uranium, not uranium ore, and it's that processed uranium that electric power plants and the like use. So if Russia really wanted to play hardball, they can, shut off exporting of refined uranium to the U.S. And then we'll see, what a trade war is really about. All of this stuff, Congress the Senate by 98-2, and quite amazingly, Bernie Sanders and Rand Paul were the only ones that got it right, probably for different reasons. But they were the only ones that voted against the Russian sanctions package. It's crazy. We're on a witch hunt, but this is the state of the enhanced affairs. People are screaming here to punish Russia for what it's done. So no matter how counterproductive that is, that appears to be what's going to happen. And if this trade war escalates over this, we are going to be shooting ourselves in the foot.
Free trade, should it not be free? Somebody pointed out the NAFTA agreement right now is 3,600 pages. Shouldn't they be ripping up pages instead of looking to put even more regulations on?
Actually, that's actually very true. I could put a free trade agreement, I could write it on a napkin. And it would consist of language that says something like this: effective immediately, all tariffs and all subsidies on all goods and services have come to an end. That's it. That is the genuine free trade agreement. Now, I don't know what's in all of those pages, and we certainly did not know everything that was in that Trans-Pacific Partnership, but I was aware of things in there that were extremely bad, and I was not in favor of that at all. NAFTA, at least if Trump is complaining that it's bad for the U.S., well, it's probably done some good, actually. But yes, the agreement is way too long. A free trade agreement, as I said, can be written on a napkin.
Well, the Republican Party has said now it's against a border adjustment tax. Is that at least good news to start with?
Well, the border adjustment tax was a very bad idea. But what are they going to come up with instead? What we've seen is bad ideas get worse and worse over time. I'm not even sure we're going to get a trade package of any kind at all this year. It doesn't look likely. We'd fought so long over Obamacare that I don't think we're going to get to a trade package this year. And then next year, who knows? Don't know what's in it. If we get a package and we have a solid proposal, I'd comment on it. But yes, the border adjustment tax is probably against World Trade Organization rules. Is a bad idea. That's the brainchild of the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. Trump said that he sometimes said that he was for it, sometimes said he was against it, wants to do other things. And I said, with Trump, you don't really know. So we're going to find out more on this, I think, next year.
Is the White House right now so distracted with minor issues they find it hard to focus on one or two big ones?
Well, they're distracted. Certainly, you look at the revolving door politics, the high-level firings of Trump. More are probably on the way. Yeah, that's a huge distraction. One guy lasted, the communications director, what was it, 10 days or 8 days, something like that. Yeah, so these are all media distractions. A lot of it is self-brought on by Trump. He knows how to fire people. I did a blog post. I said he needs to learn how to hire people, because he's certainly not learned that. One person commented to that, well, he inherited a lot of this mess. Well, he could have cleaned up the mess earlier and done it in better ways. So he really suffers foot and mouth disease all over the place. Foot and tweet disease apparently is more like it.
Changing demographics, the Canadian census found now single people make up a much larger portion of the population than ever before. It used to be families. Now families are way down the list. How does that change how business is done and who they should focus on marketing their products to?
Demographics are a huge problem, actually globally, the one way or another. And some sections of the Mideast, Southeast Asia, you've got actually an overabundance of young people. Here in the United States, we have an aging boomer population that's retiring, and we've got, or already retired, we've got a very bad healthcare system that's extremely inefficient and taking up more and more resources. The millennials here in the U.S. cannot afford houses. They probably can't in Canada either, especially in places like Toronto and Vancouver. So all of this adds up to one big, huge problem, especially with pensions. You have the millennials who aren't even going to have a pension, having to pay ridiculous amounts of taxes to support unjustified pensions of public union people here. It is a disaster, and this is why all the growth estimates that people are coming up with, or Trump has said he wanted 3 or 4% growth. Well, you're not going to get it, and one of the reasons is debt, and the second reason is demographics.
Well, he's just passed new immigration rules that will cut immigration to the U.S. Canada, on the other hand, without immigration, we wouldn't have any economic growth.
Well, you've certainly got a false one with the money coming in from China buying up property in Vancouver. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens when anyone who's taken out a mortgage anywhere in the last few years finds the value of their home cut by a third or more, as happened in 2008 during the global financial crisis. Canada, U.S. corrected and then has recovered most of it back. Some places like Canada, places in Australia, and places in China never had a correction to begin with, or much of one. And that's where the bubbles really are, the UK.
Well, Toronto housing sales down 40% year to year. So it looks like their party with real estate might be over.
Price will follow volume, and in this case, price has only one way to go, which is down. Once the bubbles pop, I don't think they're going to start again. Although we've seen false starts or proclamations of the bubble popping in Vancouver several times. None of them stuck. One of them will.
We'll have more with Mike Shedlock right after the break.
I'm Bill McWilliam, president of Cascadero Copper, CCD on the TSX Venture Exchange. Cesium is one of the world's rarest metals with a growing industrial demand. Drilling is underway on our Tehran property in Argentina to prove up a cesium resource. Cascadero's patent-pending leach process has the potential to make Cascadero the lowest cost supplier of cesium in the world. Visit our website, cascadero.com, or phone us at 604-924-5504.
Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and the Yukon. Trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the pink symbol ABN-AF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Mike Shedlock. Mish, savings rates in the U.S. and the U.K. are tumbling. Is that a bad sign for the future?
This is what happened in, it was tumbling savings rates that finally reversed in 2008 was part of the problem. People thought, well, okay, we don't need to save because the value of my house is going up. The house is my savings. People now think, the stock market, is their savings. They're starting to spend that. And of course, some people live paycheck to paycheck, don't have any savings to begin with. But the spending growth has not come from that lower segment. Spending growth has come from wealthy, thinking that the stock market boom is never going to correct again. So when some of these asset bubbles pop, we're going to see a reversal in some of these things. But right now, that the stock market is one of the things, and the dis savings associated with that is one of the things impacting the savings rate. And once again, you can thank the Fed for blowing these bubbles.
How dangerous is it for people to be using their equity accounts as savings accounts and spending the cash?
How dangerous is it? Well, the danger is, they spend money, they pull it out, they're not going to have enough money for retirement. Actually, very few people have enough money for retirement, even those that are retired. It's not much of a life if you have no assets and are just living on a Social Security check. And I don't have the percentage, but a huge percent fall in that category. People are working longer and longer and longer simply because they cannot afford to retire. That brings about a different kind of problem. We have elderly competing for and getting jobs at places like McDonald's, Wendy, Walmart, whatever, those kinds of places that used to go to high schoolers. You're seeing more and more old people, elderly people doing those kinds of jobs. So and businesses are happy to hire them because they don't have to pay, because if they're over 65, They're on Medicare, so their health insurance contribution is less. They're more reliable than teenagers, so, but these people typically aren't working because they want to. They're working because they need to.
We'll have more with Mike Shedlock right after this.
I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese, Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Keep informed. Receive our weekly recap of thought-provoking articles, podcasts, and radio delivered to your inbox for free. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage, HowStreet.com. Welcome back. We're speaking with Mish Shedlock. Mish, Australia, perhaps on the leading edge on the war against cash, proposing what, a microchip in the $100 bills that will expire that money?
Yes, a microchip in the $50 and $100 notes that will so the government can track where the money is. The commission has said, where are all these dollars? We want to find out. Well, I think what they would do if they actually did this is make people exchange all of their dollars for these new dollars, or possibly just ban cash altogether, which is actually where things are going to go. And these proposals coming out of Australia on just a number of fronts lately just keep getting weirder and weirder. That was certainly one of them, and I did a post on how Twisted Minds Function, and I described the process here. One economist in Australia, a guy named Murphy, is actually blaming now companies like Amazon and Aldi's for lowering prices. And he's one of the any number of classes of Keynesians who believe that falling prices are a bad idea. So they see this problem. They see the problem of falling prices. Then he concluded, actually this report was accurate, that central banks lowered rates and created these asset bubbles, especially in property prices in Australia. But here's the three-step process that I described in my blog, how a twisted mind functions. They see a non-problem, falling prices. They accurately connect the inane response of central banks lowering interest rates to asset bubbles, but rather than blame the central bank for the asset bubble, they blame the lack of inflation. And I challenged Murphy to respond to what I had written. Of course, I'm quite certain he is not going to respond. But even the Bank of International Settlements, which has discussed this thing numerous times over the years, actually concluded that deflation may actually boost output, lower prices, increase real incomes and wealth. And that is exactly correct. Lower prices mean things are more affordable, more people can afford them, and when they buy them, standards of living increase. This is exactly what happens. And the central banks throughout the world are all acting in unison, hell-bent on getting prices to rise in what is an inherently technologically deflationary world. These new products, new features, self-driving vehicles are going to eliminate a lot of cars. Going to eliminate millions of truck driving jobs. Going to make the delivery of truck goods cheaper and cheaper. iPhones. Look at what used to be a phone 15 years ago. A mobile phone was was the size of your arm, now its computing power, now it fits in your shirt pocket, and its computer power is way more advanced than mainframe computers that took up entire floors at the University of Illinois when I worked there. So all of these things have made people more productive and have, and here we have the Fed fighting this, and all they've done is blown asset bubbles, Jim. It is so annoying to me. I write about this topic repeatedly, and central banks just don't get it, and we're likely to have another depression because of it.
Well, I look back at the 50s where prices went down and people could all of a sudden afford that 3-bedroom home in the suburbs, have a beautiful car to drive to work and take the kids to school. It seems to me it worked well then. Mm-hmm.
We have a different type of demographic here now. People look at debt, in the United States and say, well, it's no worse than what it was after World War II, on a percentage of GDP basis. And, yes, that's true, but right after World War II, we had the entire rebuilding effort, coming up in Germany. We had a baby boomer generation that wasn't even born yet, all about to fuel the economy. Now here we are with the same high debt to GDP ratio. We've got to draw down on savings, and those savings are non-existent, and where they do exist, they're extremely skewed with a very small subset of people, 0.1% owning a huge portion of the assets. We have exactly the opposite problem here that we had, with the boomers after World War II, and people look and say, "Oh, well, this wasn't a problem then. Why is it a problem now?" Well, debt and demographics, and aging boomers, and Social Security promises, and everything else that can't be met.
Mike, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Pleasure to be on.
My guest has been Mike Mish Shedlock, editor of Mish's Global Economic Trend Analysis on mishtalk.com. You're listening to HowStreet.com Radio. Any questions for the show or our guests can be sent to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com Radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com Radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.